Let's talk about how to establish a rapport with a male client who underestimates you. Now, if you're a female in business and especially in sales, you may have run into this a few times in your career. I know I certainly have, being in sales for almost 30 years. There are some things that you can do, but I'm going to actually focus on one particular type of strategy in this particular video to share with you a really powerful strategy that you can use. Now, when you find that you're being underestimated, or when you find that the person that you're engaging with isn't really taking you seriously, there could be what's known as a little bit of a polarity response on their part. Now, polarity response is this situation where you say yes, the other person says no. You say black, they say white, you say true, they say false. It's like whatever you say, they want to take the opposing view. It's known as a polarity response. There are different things that trigger polarity responses. For some people, it's a situation. It could be a person that triggers this in them. Some people have developed this as their personality trait. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter because in your particular situation, when you feel like you're in a situation where you're speaking and every time you say something, the male client gives you a counter view. This is when you draw on your ability to change up your language with the polarity. So if you know that if you're going to say this, they're going to say the opposite, instead of just saying this, you learn how to phrase it differently. So instead of saying, here's a suggestion for you, because then they're going to tell you why that suggestion doesn't work, you would say something like, I'm not sure that you'd even be open to considering a suggestion. And then you pause and you wait. Somebody with a high polarity response in that particular situation, the opposite of, I don't know that you'd be open to considering is like, of course I'm open to considering. Now it gives you permission to share your suggestion. Another type of situation is if you find yourself wanting to say, that hasn't been my experience, and here's what I know to be true, then you might say, now I'm not even sure that you would agree with this. Pause. And then you would say, in my experience, here's what I found. Now, when you say, I'm not sure you'd agree with this, they may still not agree with you, but with a high polarity response, they're more likely to be like, yeah, I would agree with that. And here's why, because it's the opposite of what you just said, right? So learning how to change up your language can be very impactful in establishing rapport. Years ago, I had a very high profile client that owned the company, had a very high polarity response. And when I learned about this, when I was studying neuro linguistic programming, and I learned about this polarity response, I completely shifted the way that I would speak when I would go in to have meetings with them. And I remember one time, after spending a weekend away at studying my NLP work and coming back and, flying to his office and having a meeting and sitting in there and just wanting to get playful and test this language. So I was in a position to get to propose something to him. And it was something that my bosses had been really nervous about me proposing. They wanted me to propose it. And then every time I would get ready to, they would like call it off because they were so worried about his response. So this particular morning, I was committed to putting a proposal in front of him about this opportunity, but I didn't want to trigger the polarity response. So I couldn't go in and say, our company would like to, offer this. Here's why we think it's so great. So when I went in there, I said, I've been asked to propose something to you, but I'm not really sure that this is the right time. And he said, no, this is the right time. And I said, well, so the idea is around this, but I'm not even sure that's something that you are open to. And he's like, well, tell me more. And we had a discussion about it. And then I said, I don't even know if it's possible to facilitate this between our two companies. And he stands up and he says, come with me. And he walks me into his IT department and he pulls up the head of IT and he said, work with her. We're going to do this thing and build this thing for her so that she can track this. And he walks away. And that was it. And we were off to the races. So, learning how to adjust your style is super important in establishing a rapport with people that have a different style than you or sometimes would underestimate you. Be willing to be flexible because the person who has the most flexibility in a conversation has the most influence. I want you to have the most influence in your conversation. So be willing to adjust your style. This isn't about playing small. This isn't about trying to manipulate somebody. It's just about changing your language to make it more comfortable for them to engage with you and then see what happens. Likely, you'll have a much better conversation. All right. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Nikki Rausch. I'm the Sales Maven. And if I can assist you in any of your sales situations, please reach out. It would be my honor to support you. Have a great rest of your day.